Today is Talk Like Shakespeare Day. It's also World Book Night. I'm Raphael St. James. At H2P Collective, we work with people and teams to use their problems as the doorway to their goals. We have a 5-step framework called synovial space that takes a systems thinking, multi-dimensional approach to attaining goals. Shakespeare wrote in Constraint, Iambic pentameter, the sonnet's 14 lines, the dramatic unities of time, place, and action. Every form he worked in came with rules he didn't invent and couldn't negotiate away. And from inside those constraints, not despite them, inside them, he produced observations about human experience so precise that 400 years later, people still recognize themselves in them. The constraint didn't limit what he could say, it forced what he said to be exact. World Book Night exists to celebrate a specific idea, that a book carries a complete human ecosystem between two covers. Someone's specific journey, specific understanding, specific hard-won intelligence, compressed into a form that travels, that roots itself in someone else's life entirely, that becomes part of their thinking without the author ever being present. The book travels because the compression made the intelligence portable. Precision is what allows a thing to travel. Shakespeare's observations crossed 4 centuries because the constraint of the form made them exact enough to be universally recognizable. Most people communicate their experience in ways that are too diffuse to travel, too embedded in a specific context where they were formed, too long, too uncompressed, too dependent on the listener already understanding what they're trying to say. Shakespeare didn't write everything he observed about jealousy. He wrote Othello. He didn't write everything he understood about ambition. He wrote Macbeth. The constraint forced a selection. Which observation, which specific image carries the whole thing? And that selection is what made it land across 400 years. What is the most precise version of what you know that could travel beyond the ecosystem where you learned it? Not your whole story, the one observation from your whole story that, stated with enough precision, makes someone else recognize their own experience without you ever having to explain it. You already have that thing. The question is whether you've compressed it enough to let it leave the room. Before you know which observation of yours is precise enough to travel, you need an honest read of the full ecosystem it came from. The free synovial space diagnostic at h2pcollective.com gives you an honest snapshot of where you are across all 8 dimensions of your life. But a snapshot on its own is just data. What turns it into a roadmap is the conversation, your goals, your results, and the insight Liz and I bring to both. That's where we find the one change that creates movement everywhere else. Take your goal, start with the diagnostic. That's the first step. Talk Like Shakespeare Day, World Book Night, 2 celebrations of the same thing. The human observation precise enough to travel beyond the ecosystem where it was formed. The constraint isn't what's holding your story back. It's what will set it free.